Yeah, good evening, everyone. So let's welcome Veena to take the sessions.
Um,
I think already 3 minutes passed. Maybe someone might join. Or so, guys, how is going? ML going well?
Section 1 is fine, but we just started with the theory. So haven't gone deep there. Just the introduction part is being work.
Yeah. I am in all the three sections actually. Different subject in different sections. Managing the WhatsApp group is now really tough. We have around 10 groups now. So when I think we can start now. We have the 7, 8 people are there.
Maybe one more minute we can wait. Yeah, done. We can start now, I think, Veena.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you're able to see.
Yeah.
We will just go through the slide deck. I won't go in detail on any of these. Hope all have got this either an ebook or the hard copy of these books, right? If you don't have the Google Drive link, you can drop a note to me. I can share it.
I think everyone is having the PDF, no? So it's already shared by Diksha ji, I guess.
Sorry, Manoj.
No, I think everyone will be having it.
Okay, okay. So, kind of machine learning and the difference between machine learning and traditional programming is in our traditional programming method, right? We will get the data and we will use the output of, we will have some coding and we will use the output of the data. Whereas in the machine learning, we will use that output to train the model again. So we will have the data, we will first write some details, we will get some output. That output will be used as the input for the model to train again. Some of the examples of this learning problems we have already studied in the data mining, classification, recognizing pattern, recommender system, information retrieval, computer vision, robotics. This we are learning in both IDS and DM also. We have learned some of these spam filtering, fraud detection. So all these things we will learn in detail in machine learning. So in our emails and all this spam filtering is there, right? So whenever we put a keyword, it will search for that keyword and it will make it to clutter. That was how it used to execute before. But now what it will do is it will intelligently look into the mails which we are not using or which we are not opening, and it will do that machine learning in the backend, and it will remove it automatically to clutter. Until and unless we go and change it to the inbox, it will stay in the clutter. And that the same terms, if whatever we are, even if we didn't add it, like if you have subscribed to LinkedIn in your office mail, you will see it is moving to clutter if we are not accessing those details. So that's how ML algorithm works in the spam detection. In this case, this is the traditional approach where we will study the problem, write the rules, and evaluate. And once the errors we will analyze, and again we will do the same. Then we will launch the system. So it's one deployment we are doing. We are asking the system, this is the logic you have to pass to the, this is the rule you need to process, and based on that you have to make it, move it to clutter. But now when ML comes in, it will study the problem, train the ML algorithm, and it will evaluate the solution. If there is any error, we need to fix it, but the output of this will come as the input. So that continuous evaluation is happening in the ML. These are some use cases where we need machine learning. Wherever we cannot use the human expertise for understanding the data, right? Because the data volume is becoming huge these days. So wherever we cannot use our expertise to understand the data, that's where the machine learning will become prominent. So, for example, in gene studies and all, previously they used to analyze only a couple of factors and come up with a solution. But now with the ML coming into picture, they have more options to go into each and every factor, analyze, and then come up with a solution. Anyone has expertise in ML here?
Anyone working with ML or data science and all here?
I think Mihir, you're working, right?
Meher,
Yeah, I have worked with some of the projects.
oh, great.
You want to share the experience? What, if possible?
Yeah, of course. See, mainly what I observed was there are certain problems in the industry which we cannot solve using certain equations. So generally, what we used to do is we used to go to Excel. We used to create regression plots and all those things with one variables or two variables. but sometimes we were stuck when we were not able to mathematically solve the system or the problem and get a solution. So at that instance of time, regression has through machine learning has helped a lot. Other things where I found this, like in classification for driver, because I'm working in automotive industry. So one of the examples which I worked on was to understand how the driver is driving so that my system can behave in a particular manner, whether he's driving in a comfort or a sporty mode. So we had to use classification algorithms, mainly decision tree, because we had to transfer our algorithms onto controllers. So we could not use random forest and all those things.
Okay.
So yeah, these are where I have used regression and classification. I haven't much explored into clustering, but yes, I have used it sometimes.
Okay.
That is all from my side.
Thank you. So yeah, the same for the same reason, like the data is growing. Some cases we can the human intervention is not possible in all cases, and the best use case is the machine learning systems can learn from the past data and it can adapt to the new situation. Whereas if we go with the rule based one, right, there is always a need for human intervention. That is the main reason we are going with ML for most of these kind of activities.
Actually, one simple question like there is one training set and there is one test set, right? So
Correct?
in the ML also it's like that, or
Yes.
if I'm a bit,
So
bit
what
confused,
we are
like
taking is we are means whenever we develop a program, right? As a developer, we will look into the sample data, and we will based on that sample data. That sample should have the property of the complete data set, but based on that sample data, we will come up with the uh, rules and logics, and we will deploy that. But there are once that is completed, that's the test data, sorry, training data. And once the model is trained, we will use the full data set or the rest of the data. There will be test data to make sure the test data is also getting the same results. So sample will be a small portion, right? The evaluation may not be correct. So if the test data also gives the similar results, that means we can rely on that model.
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, okay.
These are some of the examples. One is pattern recognition where we are using it. And these are some cases where ML cannot be used, or we will not be able to use the ML to make some decision. So at the end of the day, ML is using a machine to use machine to generate the logic, or final rule is based on a machine, right? So there are some cases where humans can do better work, like the doctors. They will be more effective than employing a machine, right? So such kind of cases, wherever human intervention is needed, we will not rely on the ML, or this at this point of time the system is not evolved to make a decision. And the other scenario, the situation where training data is not sufficient. That was one case we evaluated sometime back, Manoj, on the COVID cases, right? We there was a question to um, give the challenges faced by the developer. This is one such case where we don't have the enough training data. For example, for a period of year, if you want to evaluate something and if you are taking 1 month data, right? Some cases that is not the actual sample to take. It might be a outlier or something, and that month data is not sufficient to for the model. That prediction may not be accurate.
So basically, for the Mars and all, then but still we need a training data, no? So how?
So that training data, whenever we choose, right, that should be the sample from the total data. If we just go with one set of data, usually whenever we model, right, the normal tendency is to take the last 1 week data and do the modeling, or last 1 month data and do the modeling. So such cases, there is a tendency for that model to fail. That may not be the, it will again depend upon the business scenario which you are working, but some cases that will not be the actual use. It will not give all the scenarios which you are looking for. That data should represent most of the scenarios which you are looking for, then only we can use it for the actual prediction.
Okay, yeah.
So these are the different types of machine learning types which we have already studied: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning, and reinforcement learning. We will see in detail, but on a high level, regression and classification problems are supervised learning. Clustering and association we have learned, that is unsupervised learning. In some cases, in semi-supervised learning also, we can use clustering and classification. And the reinforcement learning is the one where the driverless car, I forgot that, the Tesla and all is using reinforcement learning. So in this case, we will not be having that target variable similar to unsupervised learning, and we need to use some kind of intelligence we need to implement.
Can we briefly discuss this four types? Supervised, like we had to manually do the supervised thing, or like Google will ask what is the name of this guy on the pic, and we give the name like that. Maybe that's the supervised. Anyone else?
So usually for supervised learning, right, there should be the training data which we are taking, that will be a labeled data set. So based on that, we can train the algorithms. For example, if you want to, means I will take an example of in the agricultural area. So you need to see whether the fruit is ripe or not to pluck the fruit. So for that, when you train the data set, right, you will be defining the different stages of fruit ripening. And when it is green, you will mark it as raw, and you can take a picture of it, and at different stages you can put that label, and based on that labeled data you will be training your model. So we are providing some input to the system, and based on that the rule is generated.
So that is the supervised.
Supervised learning. Whereas in the unsupervised learning, right, we are not tagging the data. We will not be labeling it. That's where we are, sorry. That's where we are employing this dimensionality reduction, clustering, such methods we are employing and doing the unsupervised learning.
I think Aman has raised the hand. Aman has. You want to say something, Aman? Okay. Yeah, we can continue.
So this is the example of a unsupervised learning where we are providing the images of different animals, dog and cat, and the system will extract the feature and classify it as the cats and dog. That classification it is doing automatically. We are not telling whether this is a cat or this is a dog. But that algorithm itself will extract the feature, compare it, and then classify the animals as cat and dog. So the similarities in skin or all those things, it will compare and identify which animal is which.
Like we have to give the information beforehand, right? What are the
Now,
characteristics
only
of?
the images we are uploading. In this case, for the unsupervised learning, only images we are uploading. It will extract the features. It will check the eyes, ears, and all, and based on that, it will classify.
Okay, so example of supervised is available. An
Sorry.
example of supervised learning and other learnings is available.
So this prediction technologies, housing prediction, price prediction, and all, we have the current market trends, right? The current value we have. Based on that, it is predicting the next future value.
Oh, okay. This classification also in this supervised learning.
Correct. So the first one I told you on the images, right? That is where we are classifying. This is raw, this is right. That classification we are providing, and based on that, it will check the new data set. So both classification and regression is part of supervised learning.
Okay. Yeah.
Mainly, it will take the input data. If it is a label data, based on that label, it will classify. Uh, if it is an unlabeled data, it will process the algorithm. It will validate all the features. It will extract the features, validate it, and based on that, it will classify.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can request anyone to, if anyone has better information on this, who is working on these things, no? Like Mihir or Sumil or anyone would like to add to it, can please come forward. Okay. Okay.
Anyone want to add to it?
So I have a doubt here. So wherever it will be very difficult for a conditional things. I think that is where we use a machine learning, right? Wherever you can decide or write many conditions to derive at a point.
That's correct. But if it is a small set of data, right, we can come to a decision. Then we don't need the machine learning. But when the data volume is high, and so still we can take a set of subset of data and classify it. We know the logic, but we may not be able to do it on the larger data set. That's where we are using the supervised one. And in the unsupervised one, we are not providing the logic at all. We are taking the algorithm, and using this algorithm, we are deciding the algorithm itself will extract the features and make the prediction.
Yeah, so that prediction would be like again, there is a link with the probability, right? It may
Correct.
not be 100% right.
Correct. That's where we need to retrain the model. Always, none of the models are accurate in the first run. Always, we need to retrain the models so that it will get the better accuracy.
Right, right.
And
So,
last, yeah.
one API I'm sharing, it's a free REST API in the chat box.
Okay.
It is something like it is taking a name and it is predicting the gender based on the name.
Okay.
Right. I think internally how is it done? I don't know, but I definitely I just assume it is again a kind of machine learning only. Right.
Might be in the back end, they are providing some information from the Google or something.
Right, right. So you just execute this URL now because you're sharing the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, it predicted my name as a Peter.
Yeah, this is name equal to Peter, right? No, no. So you have to change the name. That's API, right? So change the name and put something.
I'm not able to see
But
the
it's
chat.
it's showing on the screen. No, what we can do with that? Actually, I didn't understand how to.
You want to share,
Oh, you have
Manoj?
mentioned. Oh, okay. No, 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 no. It's okay. Let him share it.
Okay, I'll share it just. Can you see my screen?
Not that.
Just a minute. Yeah, now I think yes, right?
Yeah.
So here in this is one public API. So where it is receiving a name and predicting the gender, and it is also showing the probability. Internally, maybe we have to try such kind of small things to understand it really. Like how do we do it? So is someone having an idea on how to do such kind of things? Let's say here I'll say James. So he's saying James is a male. Okay, the probability is 100%. He's saying.
Maybe try
Okay, let's
Aditya. Try Aditya.
yeah, it's like Sita female, right? So definitely this will not be there in any database, all the names, is it not?
It's Aditya can be female also. I think.
Yeah, that's maybe it is saying 100% probability is this one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
anyway,
like
I think this is there is a set of names available on internet where we can. I heard there is availability names and some information on the names, even which
it's
country.
saying Mowgli, but it's 82.82 probability.
Try
So
to
now
put
what?
some random characters and see
Yeah, the
what it
same question.
gives.
It's saying 0.62 male. So definitely some algorithm is running which is deciding what is it, right? Based on some data set. Not sure, but then we need to understand such kind of programming or whatever that we do for ML. I don't know when that thing will come. All the theory things are coming up.
Now, from bits, right, we shouldn't
Yeah.
expect that. These are things which we need to try out on our own. Because mostly the education system in bits is to reinforce the theory. They will give us the concept, trust everything we need to do.
Yeah, it's more like leading to PhD, research based. We need to have enough theory. That's what they think. For operation types of things, we need to learn from outside, maybe.
In this session, can we also refer the corresponding chapter on the textbooks, whatever it is?
Yes, that's what we are planning.
Yeah.
Maybe from the next session, right? We need to go
Yeah.
through the text.
So that would be better so that whatever the related exercise there afterwards, right? So we can try it out that and have a glance of it and fix it.
Yeah, that's a really nice one. If we can do that,
Yeah.
yeah. I hope we have enough time for that.
we should manage it within this, right? We are anyway just arranging this session daily basis.
Anyway, we have started it, so we need to learn.
Yeah, yeah, we will proceed with this.
We
Let's
have
see
to,
how far it goes, how well it goes.
yeah, we need to make it success till the midsum at least. Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
And just showing. On the supervised learning, sorry, unsupervised learning, the other one we have already learned, the market basket analysis, right? That is also an example of unsupervised learning. So we are looking at the data and coming up with the probabilities. So that kind of analysis is also unsupervised. So the case where
Uh,
we defined, right, bread,
Veena,
buttermilk,
Veena,
which all
sorry.
go together and all.
Veena, sorry. I'm just interrupting. I have put one link in the chat. It's referring to what Satya was asking. No? Can you just go through it?
I'm not able to find the chat today.
Oh, really? Okay. Let me share the screen then.
Oh, okay, oh,
Yeah, you
okay.
got it? Okay, fine. Yeah. So it's an API that they have the service. They have the service where they can predict. And we can import that API also.
Oh, it's the same one. Okay.
Yeah, generalize. No? So Satya, I think we can implement this in Python.
Okay.
Was this what you were looking for?
Yeah, it's a similar or same thing, I think, right?
No, it's
Hmm.
explanation of
They are
what
in
you
this
shared.
function.
It's the same details of that API.
Yeah. How is it implemented? We have to find out now.
There's a github.com API, Google News.api. Oh, so many API details are there. Great. Okay, let's continue.
This doesn't have example of semi supervised learning is something where we have some set of labeled data, and the major set which we have is unlabeled data. So that's where we are using the semi supervised learning. And in reinforced learning, right, this is where even the driverless car and all, it will observe what all pattern the user is using, it will observe, and based on that pattern it will change the logic. So in this case, so first step is observe, it will check what is happening, select action using policy. Then based on if it fail or success, based on that it will update the policy, and that iteration continues. So it's basically how that decision making process, it will just check on the behavior and then make the corrective action, and then that process continues.
So this reward or penalty, how does that work? How is that assigned? That would be a manual activity, right?
That should be the logic which we might be giving the system. If it has successfully completed a task, there might be a reward that will make it, and if there is a penalty, it might take the corrective action. So, for example, there is a concept of positive and negative reinforcement, right? That the reward and
Yeah.
penalty is similar to that. So, if the event has occurred and whatever action it was supposed to do has they have done, it will strengthen that logic. It will make the assumption that whatever rule is being created, that is correct. And if it has, it will go back and make the corrective action. But we need to learn further. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure on how it is being done. Maybe next class I can come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's everyone's homework kind of generally. So, yeah, I'm just wondering how, if it's not a manual activity, how system automatically, so like a chess game, for example, system knows, okay, out of the 100 possibilities, this is the move I need to make, right? So, how does that improve over time? So we write a program, so it's a template which is generic, but I need to tune, in a way that system learns by itself, right? So that piece conceptually at a high level is what the understanding is so far.
Yeah,
But
so
what
far
do you
how
exactly do so that that next move, the system can make for you and improves over time, right? So that's a little still vague for me.
right. Every theory session is concluding like that only, but the how part is still missing.
Mm.
So most of these gaming apps, right? So they use these kind of learning. So whenever the player has succeeded or the player has gone to next level, they will increase the complexity of the games, right? So all
Correct.
those things are part of this, means are the result of this particular method. But yeah, we need to learn little further on how they are doing it.
Mm. So, in this diagram, that minus 50 points, maybe because there are just two actions, right? If you go towards the bucket, it is plus 50, and this, there could be something manual, right? But yeah, so maybe that can be taught, like, for a lot of OCR activities or voice. I think you say this is good or this is bad, and you feed the details so that it improves, right? So manual to some extent I can understand, but how system kind of does it by itself is something that.
Kind of, we need to learn some of these algorithms, then only we will get a better knowledge of
Correct,
this.
correct, yeah.
Because this self-driving cars and all, right, and even in the aviation also they are using this trajectory optimization. So there they are using the reinforced learning.
Mhm.
So but how they are doing it, that part we need to learn. So there might be some target we are giving. So based on that only they can reward and take the penalty, right? So that part we need to see how we need to do. So these are the different types of types how the training data is used. One is batch learning, where we are giving the set of data. So all the available batch we are using at a time. That is batch learning. Mini batch is we will give smaller subset of data and evaluate the performance. And online learning is the incremental learning. So where we will feed the system with the data. Let's see what this image is. We have the training data. We will evaluate the solution, then launch it, run and learn. Any idea what this image is? Oh, okay. This is so it's different. The same thing, whatever we have mentioned, they are having different pictures for it. So first one is the batch process where we give the data at one point of time means as a single unit, and the system will evaluate. The second image is for the mini batch where we will be giving small subset of data to the training model. And I hope there is one more image. No. We will continue this in the next class, next day. Not class.
Yeah, okay, fine, fine. Every day we will have the session, so it's okay.
Yes, Veena.
So, yeah, so a general question. So, so we are going through CS1, right? So correspondingly, there would be some textbooks and all that, and it's a group work that we are kind of doing, right? So how do we try to cover? So there are a couple of books and references and all that, right? So how do we target this so that when at the end of the day, as a peer group, we are able to learn better, as well as be prepared for the exam, which is not far away, right? It's 1.5 months away. So I mean, so going by the slide is good. Just trying to understand from you. I don't have a solution. I'm not trying to propose anything, just trying to understand what is our thinking. We go through the slide, and then if there is a deviation needed, we refer the textbook, or how do we want to proceed with this?
Actually, our plan is to go through the text and go through these exercises. But just to,
So,
since this is the first session, right?
hmm,
Just thought of giving the introduction as some of the team are
yeah,
new
yeah,
to. They haven't attended the class till now.
yeah. Okay.
So we will go through this exercise, and I know when some of it we may not be able to come to a conclusion in the whenever we are doing the discussion. So some background work is needed, which
Hmm.
we can collaborate and do.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we will go through the slides for understanding the concepts and then come to the textbook exercises. So we will have an more elaborate idea of when we solve the questions, right? And if you are stuck, then we can post it in the groups. Maybe someone is better informed, they can help us then, right?
Or also make use of the TS and the forums and Canvas we should use.
Yeah, no, this time we need to sem, right? We have missed that. We haven't taken help from TS at all. It was all peer group. Whatever we have done, right? We haven't taken help. This time we need to build that connect with TS.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Because
Because we are,
mainly for the code some project and all, right? We need some help from them. So it's good to build that connect now itself.
yeah, because we paid them so much and we are helping each other, right? We are not taking their help, right? So this that, yeah.
Let's see, let's pause the questions because last time, right, we were also new to this stream at all. So we don't know what to ask. Now, I hope we are in a better stage to at least ask questions.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, as a, like if you have enough people, then everyone can ask in the groups. Yes, we will try to answer, and if you stuck, then we can everyone can ask in the groups in there itself, and even peer group can solve there also in case. That's a good idea. Yeah.
and Manoj, one thing we need to do this time is collect the question papers a little early so that we can start working on it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is this time actually we have very little question papers. That's the problem. Anyone who is having a connection with the seniors, they can help on this.
Okay.
But I think as if we are able to answer the textbook questions, we will be able to answer the exam questions as well.
Yeah, we will get an idea.
Okay, then great. Thanks a lot, Veena. Thanks for coming forward. Yeah. And thanks
Thank
everyone
you.
for joining. Satya, Vivek,
Yeah,
Mihir.
yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.